Okay, so this is everything that I got for the month of March 2021. Pretty good size stack, pretty happy with everything that's in here. One surprise though, another X-Men book. I feel like I'm cursed at this point. I just feel like they're just gonna start slipping in without even realizing. And this is actually that kind of situation. I do not recall ordering Immortal X-Men. I had the first issue though. This is an X-Men book that's all about the Quiet Council, which is a pretty cool idea. I wish they would do more of that when Charlie Hickman's on the book. I do like the writer, Karen Gillan, but I didn't order this book. I actually double checked. I triple checked every request I've sent to my shop, every communication I had my shop. Even my shop was like, oh yeah, I don't know how that got in there. So I'm just cursed, I guess. But moving on to the books that I did order. I believe this is the last issue of the Silver Lantern Club. There might be one more. Most Hellboy series kind of go to like 5 issues. Sometimes you get a 6th one, but I really enjoyed the Silver Lantern Club. I would love to see a volume 2. We can just continue the book. I'm a big fan of anthology books, so getting a bit of that with Hellboy and some of the side characters from like the Sir Edward Grey area is pretty cool. Hulk Grand Design by Jim Rugg. He wrote and drew this. This is Monster, and the next month is Hulk Grand Design Madness. But like the X-Men Grand Design, this is just taking a very large percentage of the Hulk's history from his origin to somewhat modern times, and then condensing it into a few books. So this one's just 2 issues, but it should be fun. I really like the Hulk. I read a ton of Hulk when I was growing up, and I like Jim Rugg, so it'll be kind of cool to see this all put together. Magic Order issue 5 and 6 came out, so this volume of Magic Order is done. This is the big bad here. He's got a helmet that makes him stronger, magic wise, and then I don't know who that little girl is, but she looks evil. She's got white eyes, so that's no good, and that's most of the good guys. So we'll see. Will they be able to overcome evil, or will evil win? That'd be kind of cool to see the bad guys win. I could see Mark Miller kind of doing that kind of twist, and then tune in for volume 3. Moving on, Step by Bloody Step. So last month, I just didn't even realize or remember that I'd ordered this book. It really started, and I was kind of like, ugh, well, sometimes things happen and you kind of order something and forget about it and it shows up. You're like, sometimes mistakes are made. Mistakes were not made with this book. First issue was awesome. The artist, I think his first name's Adam. I'm totally wrong, but Bergara. He's great. He's really good artist, and the story is told with no dialogue. It's all just sequential art driving everything. And this story, this robot, this giant mech thing protecting this little girl, and then going across like traveling and him fighting all these different creatures, and like it's really really good. Like I actually flipped through it like a few times. I was just like I was completely blown away. So I'm very excited for issue 2. I really didn't have any complaints. Like by the time I got to the end of the first issue, even with that final page hook, I was like, dang, I can't wait for issue 2. So yeah, this is a keeper, 100%. This stands out above some of the other books I'm reading that I'm kind of like on the fence about. This one, I don't even need to wait till 6 issues. I don't think this is gonna ever have a dip, but we'll see. The art though, again, is phenomenal. It reminds me of like, he's definitely a European artist. You can see like the influences of like Mobius for sure. There's a couple characters like those guys are pulled straight from like the Inkle, which is not a knock on him or anything. But yeah, it's really good. Can't recommend that one enough. Radio Spaceman and Mission to Numa 4. This is a Mike Mignola book. Greg Hinkle's doing the art since Mike doesn't draw too much these days, but this is just literally a story based off a drawing that Mike Mignola did during the pandemic, which is basically like this guy. I actually have this on my phone as my lock screen right now, but yeah, I pretty much read everything Mike Mignola does, so of course I'm going to pick this up. Very curious to see what it's about. Red Room's back. This is kind of the second volume. It's called Trigger Warnings. I really did like the first series. Really like the kind of EC horror, Tales of Crypt, Vault of Horror vibe of each issue kind of being its own story, which I'm always a huge fan of self-contained stories. And yeah, it's definitely a horror book. There's not a lot of horror books out there, and it's definitely more of that like shocky kind of horror. It can be violent at times and kind of it's definitely dark at times. But yeah, I dig that stuff. Sword of Hyboria. Last issue was really cool. This has been a really cool side like story explaining more of the Sword of Hyboria and its connection to like the Heliotropic Brotherhood of Ra and all these other crazy cults that show up in Hellboy, who are all trying to find this weapon because they know its importance. So it's kind of cool seeing the stories of it throughout the ages. So yeah, Usagi. So all my Usagi books are now just this, as I mentioned last one. Just getting the main Usagi book and then the origins as they get printed. So this is just a single issue tale. So self-contained, kind of like it. So we'll see. Yosagi and his cousin they met up at the end of the last issue. They resolved their problems they were trying to solve, and they're back on the road. So we'll see what happens there. What's the furthest place from here? 5 issues in. 5 issues in. It's fine. Like comparing it to like Some Bloody Step, where that one has just been like the first issue really knocks it out of the park. The first issue, this one really intrigued me, and it's been slowly just kind of taking its time, and it's almost taking almost about too much time, and I'm kind of starting to get on the fence about it. The last issue actually was better than issue 4 was a pretty good one, but it's just not answering enough of the questions for me right now. So we'll see. I give every book 6 issues, so I'll give this one more. We'll see. Like I said, I like issue 4, so maybe 5 will kind of start to pick things up. There's one minor nitpick I have about this book though, is that they have these there's like a lot of small chapters within each issue, so it might be hard to see, but this is like a full-size normal comic book. I think it's a couple of extra pages, but they have all these like large pages that are just like a line of text of like the start of that little chapter, which is fine, but as like a single issue I feel like I'm losing pages. I'm not feeling like I'm getting ripped off or anything, like they're not filling a full book, but it's an interesting choice. I'm not quite a fan of it. Black Hammer number 10, only 2 more issues left in this one. And then I don't know if there's going to be more Black Hammer. I know Jeff Lemire, he's heard like a Substack, which is like an online subscription platform that you can sign up for, and then he prints comic books and stuff there. And I've heard he's doing a Black Hammer series there, which I'm not going to subscribe to get that. I'm sure it'll get reprinted at some point. But there's only 2 more issues left in this series. Last one ended with the revealing the main villain, who's actually the Black Hammer from the parallel universe, is the one who's been causing these 2 worlds to collide to try and... He doesn't want to free the anti-god, but he needs to get as close as he can to freeing him to try... What he's been trying to do is find his daughter. In his universe, his daughter died when he was fighting the anti-god. In the main Black Hammer universe, where these characters are from, her father, as the Black Hammer, died fighting the anti-god. So, yeah, he's just been trying to find his daughter, and he's asking her in the final page, join me so we can be together. So I'm sure she's going to say no, because she's really just trying to find her family, who Colonel Weird, she thinks that Colonel Weird killed them, but it's been kind of revealed that they're maybe not dead and just in some weird pocket universe. So, which is also another really cool part of this book, is there's these backups where her son in this pocket universe is trying to find his dad and sister and figure it out, which is actually really fun. Demon Days Blood Feud number 1, even though this is the first issue, it's just a continuation of this Demon Days story that Peach Momoko has been doing of all these different mobile characters in like feudal Japan with demons and oni, even though demons aren't the same thing. But yeah, it's been fun. I think this is the last issue. There might be one more, and then they just announced she's doing kind of a second volume. I don't think it's called Demon Days. It's kind of a soft sequel, because I think this girl shows back up, who I'm still pretty sure is supposed to be Elektra. But it's going to be kind of a take on Civil War with like Samurai Captain America, Samurai Iron Man fighting each other. So should be fun. Then finally, the saga's back. It's been great. More of the characters are starting to show up. So you're learning a bit more of like the time jump, what happened during the time jump. And yeah, like no complaints. What can I say? It's Saga. It's great. It's one of the best books being put out there right now. And then I also got this, I guess this is like a single issue. It says annual, 71, 74 annual. It might even be issue 22. I don't know, because it's the first I've seen this. But this is just an Ashley Wood book. A bunch of like little short stories and art and concepts and all kinds of stuff that he just kind of put together into a book. I'm a big Ashley Wood fan, so anything that he's going to put out, I'm pretty much going to buy. So I did flip through this a little bit, and it looks pretty fun. A lot of cool stories and stuff in there. Then trades. I actually got a good stack of trades this month that I'm really happy with. First up, Big Man Plans. This is an old Eric Powell book that's been collected together. I don't think this was ever collected when it first came out. Maybe I just didn't get it, but I'm glad, because I really like Big Man Plans. And it's basically the story of this like little guy, midget, who comes back from Vietnam. He's got some PTSD. He's got some issues. And then he finds out this girl that he's kind of got a thing for back home has been like roughed up or killed by like these crooked sheriffs. They beat the crap out of him. They think he dies, and he's just like, nope, I ain't dead. And then he goes on his crazy revenge to, kill the bad guys. And it's great. It's just a great, dark revenge story. it's Eric Powell, so it's beautifully drawn. The story is actually really good. And yeah, super happy that I got that. It says the expanded edition. There's just like a bunch of like covers in the back, which I haven't seen some of those. When this book first came out, they used actually Eric Powell's trying to get shirts made with this like hang clown with a hang in there. I ordered one, but yeah, they got a refund because they never got them made. I do have a sticker somewhere of it, but wish I got that shirt though. Then I got JLA Avengers. This is I'm pretty stoked that I actually got a copy of this because it only did about 7,000. This is a special reprint they did of this book that's been out of print for well over 10 years because you're trying to get Marvel and DC to work together. But the Heroes Initiative, which is a charity that works to raise money for comic book creators who are just like retired, they're all work for hire. So it's not like they have pensions or 401ks or health insurance or anything like that. So helps raise money just to help keep those guys and those people, with food, roof over their head. And yeah, so they printed this. A lot of the money raised went towards Heroes Initiative, which is great. But it's just like a classic superhero team up. The JLA and the Avengers meet, they tussle for a bit, they realize they have a common foe, then they team up and they go and kick some butt. And it's great. It's, you couldn't ask for anything better, especially written by Kurt Busiek, who's like the hugest comic book nerd writing comic books. You can actually go back to like comics from Marvel in the 70s and see letters from a young Kurt Busiek correcting like Roger Stern and Stan Lee and other writers and like winning Marvel No prizes. And if you're going to have this many characters, you got to get George Perez. The guy can draw everything, has drawn everything. You look at some of these splash pages and stuff, like he's just got, like everybody shows up. It's wild. This is such a super fun book. There's actually a really cool, near the back here. Yeah, you can see this, like, might be hard because it's kind of dulled out, but yeah, it's basically like just a giant splash page of like every Avenger and JLA member that George Perez could think of put into one giant piece, which is great. What I love most about George Perez is like every character he draws looks different. Like he's got two Flashes here, right? You got Barry and you got, oh man, I'm on the spot. Barry Allen and crud. I can't remember the guy's name. But they look different. Like it's not just, hey, I'll draw the same dude in the red suit. Like their faces have different structure. Like, and that's all his characters like that. All the female characters look different in terms of like, it's all about the facial structure. That's like my biggest complaint with some modern comic book artists is like, they draw female superheroes, and if you just take away their hair and their costume, their faces look identical. It's even worse to see some folks draw Batman and Superman. It's just Batman is Superman with a cowl on. Like, it's just no difference. It's like, come on. But there's a ton of great back matter in here because there's a bit of history to Marvel and DC doing crossovers. They did a bunch in the, I want to say like, in the 70s. They did like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, the Hulk, Teen Titans, and the X-Men. And the last one was going to be a Justice League Avengers, but it kind of fell apart. And that they have that whole story in here. It was originally, the first one was actually originally written by Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas. They got a script together, and kind of before it was like officially approved, the story goes, they just sent it to George Perez and he just started drawing it. He was like, yeah, I can do this. So you can see, I've seen some of these pages because, some people scan them online, but you kind of get to see everything that he did draw before the project actually fell apart. And like, oh, we didn't approve this at all. And it stopped. And then like years later, 1994, no, that doesn't make sense. This must have been like the late 90s, I believe, when this came out. Oh, no, 2003. Yeah, that makes sense. That's still 20 years ago almost. Yeah. Came together, they got it done. And yeah, there are a lot of great interviews back here. What's really cool is this is something I'm super stoked about after reading it, is like page by page, panel by panel. What are all the characters and places, and like what are they referencing from Marvel and DC history? Because like I said, Kurt Busiek he's the guy. He's like a walking encyclopedia. And he did not cut any corners with the deep cuts and references and everything. Like, yeah, it's amazing. So super stoked to get a copy of that. Because it was like a low print, I was really worried I might not get one. Or I was like, well, I guess I'm going to go online on eBay and try and find one for like, I don't know, I'm not going to pay $400 for something like this, but be tempting. Then the last one I got was God Hates Astronauts, the Omni Mega Bus, which is a collection of all of the God Hates Astronauts books. It's just really fun silly superhero book by a guy named Ryan Brown, and I'm a big fan of Ryan Brown's stuff. I pretty much, after reading God Hates Astronauts, the first thing I read by him, I get anything he works on. But it's just a super goofy book about these heroes who are, they're not like well past their, over the hill, but they're past their prime, and they're, the Earth gets invaded by this guy called King Tiger eating a cheeseburger, and he literally is. Oh, there's a good picture in here, but he's literally just a king, like a tiger in a crown, eating a cheeseburger. He's always got a cheeseburger, and yeah, they attack Earth, and these heroes need to team up and save the day after not having done it for many years. And it's just like a fun, silly book. There's like these ads, like there's so many layers of story. There's the main story that of the invasion. Then there's like, because it's trying to spoof comic books, there's like an ad for these mints, like, oh, buy these mints, and then that becomes a story within the story. And then there's this narrator called 3D Ghost who's narrating some of the books, then he kind of has a story. That's like just layers and layers of meta commentary on superheroes. And yeah, it's really fun. It's like, at times, like while I was flipping through this, I was giggling just because I remember just some of the stuff from this. So I'm very much yeah, 3D Ghost, oh jeez. Yeah, it's super fun. So this collects everything, because it started as a webcomic, so it collects all that, and then it moves into the image series. That's where I first started reading it, and then it's got a bunch of side stuff that he got a lot of his other friends to work on and just add to the book too. So lots of backup materials and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, super fun. And that's everything that I got for the month of March. Hopefully next month I don't get an X-Men book. Maybe it'll be the first one. But we'll see. I don't know. I seem to be cursed, so maybe one more to sneak in there. But as always, let me know what you think. Send me your jeers. Send me your cheers. I'll see you next month.